So today we're diving into the fire in the mouth. Those super powerful, precise words that can either build an argument up or just burn it completely to the ground. We're going to give you the vocabulary you need to see exactly how the art of persuasion really works.
So let's start with a big one. What actually gives words their power? Is it the person saying them? Is it some kind of hidden meaning? Or is it just the raw emotion they stir up in us? Well, we're about to find out as we break down the essential vocabulary of persuasion.
Every great argument, every debate, it needs a foundation, right? So our first set of words covers the absolute fundamentals. These are the building blocks for any real exchange of ideas.
First things first, you need people. An interlocutor is simply anyone taking part in a conversation. So in a big presidential debate, the candidates are the interlocutors. But if you're just chatting with a friend, you're both interlocutors too. It's the simple starting point for any dialogue.
And a lot of the time, what are these interlocutors trying to do? Well, they're trying to propagate an idea, to spread it far and wide, to help it catch on and grow. Think about how scientists work to propagate a new theory, or how an influencer tries to propagate a new trend. It's all about getting the message out there.
It really pays to listen closely to how someone starts their speech. Their first few sentences can often presage or signal the entire direction their argument is going to go. If they use some ominous language, it might presage a warning. A really upbeat tone, that could presage a message of hope. It's like a verbal clue for what's coming next.
Okay, now let's zoom in on the speakers themselves. Because as we all know, style can be just as important as substance. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. So here we have two totally opposite ends of the communication spectrum. On one side, you've got the loquacious speaker, super talkative, always filling the silence. And on the other, you have the laconic speaker, brief, direct, and using very few words. Think of a chatty podcast host versus that quiet, stoic cowboy in an old Western.
And this brings us to a really key point about being effective. A pithy statement is powerfully concise. It's short, but it's absolutely packed with meaning. In contrast, a prolix speech is just tediously lengthy, using 100 words when 10 would have been perfect. The goal is almost always to be pithy, not prolix.
Oh man, we have all run into this person, especially online. A pedant is someone who completely ignores the main point of what you're saying just to zero in on a tiny spelling mistake or some obscure point of grammar. They are just obsessed with the small details, usually to show off how smart they are. And of course, attitude plays a huge role. A pert remark is cheeky and bold, maybe a little bit disrespectful, but often in a clever, witty way. And then you have ribald humor, which is crude or vulgar, but in an amusing, boisterous kind of way. Two totally different energies, right? And they create two very distinct styles. Okay, so we've set the stage, we've met the speakers. Now it's time for the main event, the substance of the argument itself. These next words describe the tone, the tactics, and the tools a speaker will use.
So a maxim is a short statement of a general truth, something timeless, like actions speak louder than words. It's genuine wisdom. A platitude, on the other hand, is a tired cliche, like everything happens for a reason. It's been used so many times, it's lost all its impact. So one is wisdom, the other is just noise.
All right, let's talk about the attack words. An invective is just a pure verbal assault. It's abusive language aimed right at a person. A polemic, though, is a strong, powerful argument against an idea. So, to put it simply, invective attacks the person while a polemic attacks the position.
And a really common tool in these attacks is the pejorative. This is basically any word or label that automatically shows contempt or disapproval. Using a pejorative term for something is a rhetorical tactic to frame it in a negative light from the very beginning, before you've even made your case. Now, this next word is a little less about tactics and a bit more about context. A patois is a dialect that's spoken in a particular region, and it's often pretty distinct from the standard form of a language. Understanding a speaker's patois can be really key to grasping their background and how their message is being heard.
All right, time to get into the action. These are the verbs. These are the words that describe what people actually do when they're in the heat of an argument.
You can actually see an entire argument unfold with just these 4 verbs. So first, one speaker might impute bad motives to their opponent, accusing them of something negative. In response, the opponent will try to refute that claim, using facts and logic to prove it's false. Then they might rebuke the first speaker, sharply scolding them for that unfair accusation. And finally, to really seal the deal, they'll recapitulate their key points, summarizing the core of their argument for everyone listening.
And there you have it. From interlocutors to invectives, from pithy maxims to prolix arguments. Look, this isn't just about expanding your vocabulary. It's about giving you the tools to dissect conversations, build way stronger arguments, and really understand the power of all the words flying around you every single day. Ultimately, words are the foundation of how we connect with each other, how we persuade each other. So the real question is, which one of these tools are you going to use first to sharpen your own communication?